Hey guys, welcome back to the second tutorial of how to make a email client one way. What we're going to work on now is the actual GUI. We're just going to make it look pretty, hook it up to the emailer class we made in the previous video, and basically just have something that we can look at and actually maybe even test. But the testing isn't a for sure thing, but let's just get started. So first we're going to take this main window, and over here in title we're going to want to change this. We're going to call it one-way email client. I mean, you know, that's what our project's called. Why not have the GUI reflect that? Let's see, resize mode, I always like to do can minimize. That way the user can't change the dimensions of the window and all the controls will be out of proportion. But they can at least minimize it to their taskbar. Let's see, as we keep going down, Windows startup location, we're going to have that in center screen, just because as a nicety. And Windows style, really not that big of a deal. Preferably, well, definitely one of these two. Tool window, all you'll have is a small border with just an X on it, and none is, I mean, you won't have a window like a tool window. So, so yeah, between single border and 3D border, whatever you want to pick. So let's see, that's it for common. We'll come out in here, layout. Width, we are going to have, the width we're going to do is 780 by, let's see, 550. This will make it nice and big. So when we put all the controls on, we have enough room to move things around and make it big enough so the user, when they run it, it's easy to read. Let's see if there's anything else we need to change in there. Nope. Close that out. Brushes. The background. Actually, we want to change the background on this grid that comes put onto the window to start. Actually, I lied. It's going to go on the window. And the background is just going to be this color. It's very nice, soft blue. Excuse me. And, you know, it's just easy on the eyes, and it makes it look not as boring. For now, I do believe that is all we need to worry about. Let's see. Yep. That is pretty much it. So now what we're going to do, and I'm actually going to close this. It's just something you don't really need to worry about. This way we can focus just on the GUI. So what we're going to do, I'm going to come over to Toolbox, and we're going to add this thing called the Group Box. This will keep things nice and organized and together, because we like that. We like stuff that's organized. If I can just click this. And we're going to move it up so it snaps into place. We want that because Windows is nice enough to know that we want everything to keep pretty. Up here, under Common for our group box, the header we're just going to have it say to from. You know, just an easy way to say what's going to go on the box. And then we're going to pull this label down. We're going to copy and paste a few times. So now we have 3 of them. Let's see, this box may actually be a little bit too big. We'll just shrink that down a bit. Let's try and move this so it looks a little bit better. We'll just compress that a little bit. What we're going to have here, we're trying to evenly space out the labels. Let's just get them to move up a little bit. That should be good. Here, what this is going to be, the content in this is going to be to colon. This one is going to be from colon. And this one will be subject. I realize that's not in the group box, but that's really not that important. So now let's see, what we're going to do is we're going to move these, so instead of the front of them lining up, we're going to actually have the colons line up as best as we can. And in here, we are going to have a text box. And actually we're going to have 3 of them, just like the labels. The way I like to do it, you just grab them, throw them to the very end, that way the user can type in as much as they want, and they will see everything they type. So we just take that, grab it, click and drag. And notice how there's 3 snap positions it can go to on the to part. Make sure that when it snaps, it actually goes in towards the middle of the text. It lines it up a bit better, so everything's more centered. But if you don't want to, that's fine, no big deal. So now that we have that, what we're going to do, we're going to come back over here and add another group box. And this one we're just going to move right here, stretch that out nice and big. The reason why is because the header for this is going to be our message. And just like before, we grab a text box, we're going to move it up to the topmost corner and fill out this entire group box. There we go. A couple things we have to do on this text box really quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to say accepts return and tab. That way when you hit enter or tab in the text box, it will put in a new line or a tab rather than going to the next control. Let's see, the next thing we need to change is down in other, I believe. We want this excuse me. We want wrap with overflow. This will make it so once it gets to the end, it will wrap. That should be as much as we need for now. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add one more label. Excuse me, my bad, that was wrong. We're going to add another group box. And in here, the group box is going to be lined up with the rest of them. This one is actually going to be quite a bit smaller. And in here, this group box, the header for it is going to be attachments. And then in here we're going to have another label. Hopefully it fits. Label, and this is going to say, you know, actually, we probably don't even need a label. We can just get rid of this. And we're just going to come here and grab a text box, and this is going to fill out this entire section, except for that much. What we're going to have is a button right here, and this button, what it's going to say is add. This will be how you add an attachment. And then we also need one more button right here, let's say, and it's going to say send. Let's actually line this up with this other button just so it looks a little bit better. And now when we run this, this is what we get. It's a very nice, very well organized box. Actually, if we really wanted to, we could even make this a bit smaller.
Well,
You know what? That seems to be working okay. Well, there we go. So we can do that, and then what we can do is move this further up. So now, this way we have a little bit more space. Everything's not so cramped. You know, now when we run it, it looks a little bit better. Still not a fan of the send button. Let's move that down a few. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got this, what we're going to do, this is just something that I like to do that makes it a little bit nicer. Over here you'll see text box 1. It's very ambiguous. It's not very organized. When you get into coding, you just don't know what's happening. So what we're going to do, we're going to have this be called toField. We're going to match that along this entire thing. This is the from field. This will be the subject field, message field, and the attachment field. Okay. And this will actually be the add button and the send button. Alright, so now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and add. And under this button that's called Events, on click, what we're going to have is Add Attachments. What this will do is Visual Studio is nice enough to open and create our method for us, our event handler method. And in here, what this is going to do, we're going to have an open file dialog, and we'll just call it OP, equals new open file dialog. And then actually we're going to use our object initializer, which I talked about in the last video. We're going to say we're going to say check file exists to true, check path exists to true. We're not going to have a filter. I mean, you can add whatever you want, no big deal. We're going to have multi-select, just as a very cool nicety for the user. And the title of this is going to be select your attachments. So now what happens is when the window pops up, that'll be a nice title where you would see this. So we have that. And what we're going to do is we're going to say if op.showDialog equals dialog result dot, oh, excuse me, sorry, that's wrong. It's actually this. Basically what it's saying is that showDialog returns, it's maybe going to be true or false, but we need it to be absolutely sure. So what we're going to do, we're just going to add a cast to it to say that yes, you will be either true or false. And then now what we're going to have here is we're going to do a try catch. This will basically just to try to see if the user actually selects anything. And what we're going to do is first we have to make an instance variable. We have to make an array list, and we're just going to call it attachments. Alright, easy enough. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set attachments equal to a new array list. Alright? And then what we're going to do is we're going to say attachments field dot text equals string dot empty. This way we don't add stuff twice, and we can make sure that it's nice and clean. And then we're also going to say, let's see, down here, we're going to for each over op dot, let's see, where is it? It is file names. We're just going to call it file. And then what's going to happen is we're going to say attachment field dot, excuse me. We're actually going to say attachments dot add file.